And it's a little harder on a website unless you have an active blog community, because really a blog is the only way to actually engage from a website perspective. And people are, if you're a big blogger and you've got millions of followers, then that's a good way to engage. But for most of us that don't have a million followers, social media is the best way to do it.
You're listening to Lori Lyons, entrepreneur, marketer, and website maven from Ignite Marketing. In a moment, you'll hear some great advice about how to market your business online, as well as the number one thing every business owner should know to maximize sales and referrals, because Lori is today's guest on Solopreneur Success.
Welcome to the Solopreneur Success Podcast, where successful business owners gather to share true stories and sound advice to help you start and grow your own solopreneur business. Come soar with us and design the life you love. Now, here's your host, Steve Combs.
Hello, Solopreneurs. Today, I'm excited to bring on the show Lori Lyons, who is the owner and creative director of Ignite Marketing, a full-service website design business, as well as she's a creator of the online program, Make Your Marketing Simple. And if that's not enough, Lori's like a Jill of all trades in the world of small business and entrepreneurship. She's not only an entrepreneur, but a speaker, marketer, author, and self-described website maven. It makes sense as her creative director of a website design firm, but she's not kidding either. I looked at her website, and her headline challenged me right away with this question. Get this. Are you still using your mama's website? So that's okay. If you are, though, because today, Lori's bringing over 35 years of business know-how to the show, including, and she promised to share with you, the absolute number one thing every business owner must know. So stick around to find out what that is. But Lori, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. So excited to be here.
I'm glad to have you on. And for my intro, it does sound like you do virtually everything. So what would you say is your true business superpower? Like, what do you typically do all day in your business?
Help my clients with their marketing and with their websites. And one thing you can't do one without doing the other. So I start with their website design, and we invariably get into all different aspects of marketing and ways that they can grow their business, which is just fun conversations to have.
So you're helping folks who sound like they're just getting off the ground. So almost like startup level, let's get this business established, are the kind of clients you typically work with?
Yeah, typically I work with either just beginning clients, like you said, or maybe they've been in business for a year or two, sometimes 3. And they've had a do-it-yourself website, or they've had somebody design a website that's not meeting their needs as they've grown. So that's when I come in and can really sit down with them and talk to them about, who their market is, what they're doing, and how their website can best meet their needs.
Gotcha. And of course, entrepreneurship, it's a hot topic today. There's no lying about that.
Yeah.
But you've been an entrepreneur for years. This is nothing new for you. So how did you get down that path from, I don't have a business, I don't know a whole lot. How did you get to where you are today, where you're helping other people get their businesses running?
Well, it was sort of by accident. I'm, grew up, had my education as teaching, and through life changes that happens to all of us, realized that I couldn't afford date clothing as a teacher. So I left and went out into the world of business and started in as working in the creative business and sales and management and marketing, and just kind of took advantage. My master's degree is in business and is in administration from an education level, but because that incorporates so much that you do from a business, it really kind of all flowed. So fast forward about 10 years, met my husband, moved to New Jersey, and went to work with a marketing packaging company in the early 90s. Excuse me. And after about 4 years, I realized I'm giving him a lot of money to handle my receivables, because we split our profit 50-50.
Wow.
And as the business grew, I was giving him a lot of money just to invoice and get some payables in. And I thought, well, I can do that, and, the computers were in. My husband is a computer guy. He set up one of those, Dell 286s or whatever on my on my website, still using DOS.
Old school.
Yeah, still using DOS to invoice. And I said, well, I can do this. So I kind of went on my way of setting myself up in business. About 99% of my clients came with me. These were before the days of non-competes and all that kind of stuff. And, the agreement with him, I had his blessing. And I just said I'd never, interfere with his clients, and he never interfered with mine. And we, still have we're Facebook friends to the day. But so it really kind of happened organically and just because I wanted to make more money for myself. And as I said, that was in the early 90s, and I did marketing packaging. I did binders and folders and customized index tabs, and then it moved into video packaging and then DVD packaging. And so then in 2006, by then the internet was really starting to come on, and people didn't want binders anymore. Everything was on the internet. So it kind of, at that point, I kind of reached a crossroads and said, I got to do something different here. So I really just fell into entrepreneurship. It was never my goal. It was never something that I aspired to. I just did it.
You just started doing the work, and then it kind of fell on your lap.
Yeah.
That sometimes happens. But the nice thing is you actually took the bull by the horns and ran with it and actually turned it into something big. Let's talk about websites for a minute, because that is a big part of what you do. And I'll tell you, I've heard people, and you started doing websites when, 2006, did you say? Is that when you kind of got into the website side of things? Yeah,
I had a little bit of a break there, 2006. And then, of course, we hit, the economy and all that. And so 2010, I was looking for a job and found a job with a digital marketing company and knew nothing. When I tell you I knew nothing, I meant nothing. So, I learned along the way, and I was account manager, that if I taught myself how to do websites, and if a customer called in and said, hey, I just need, can you change, we've been in business 35 years to 36 years. And if I figured out how to do that, then the customer was happy. The support team was happy because I wasn't creating tickets for one word. So I kind of taught myself. And, it's the adage that if it's on YouTube, you can become an expert at it is really true in my case.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we use YouTube in our family for learning how to juggle and everything you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. Yep. And I still have my book downstairs called WordPress for Dummies. So,
And I like your story of how you kind of reinvented yourself. And you don't have to, things sometimes do go south, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the line. I think that's so important for people to realize. It's, sometimes we get in these situations where, I can't tell you how many times, Lori, I've started a business and it just went nowhere at all. And I used to be a computer guy too. I was IT before I became a writer, and then I've moved on beyond just only writing to teaching and coaching. But the thing is you have to grow. And sometimes where you're at today won't be where you're at tomorrow.
Oh, sure.
I love your story of how you had a pause, and that's okay. It wasn't failure. This is a reset. And we're going to push a reset button. And you've learned how to take digital media, which is brand new, but you've also got the concepts that you learned for years before that, because honestly, marketing, whether it's direct mail or if it's web marketing, there's a lot that's going to tie hand in hand right together.
Oh, absolutely. And interestingly enough, my very first job when I left education was with a direct mail marketing company. We mail junk mail, and that's where I learned all about marketing and mailing and the creative process and print and digital, and it just kind of went on from there. So it's really interesting how it all kind of ties together.
Yeah, and I love it because I'm a copywriter, by the way, and so I write that kind of junk mail, or actually online these days. It's like a lot of your work is online these days, but it serves a purpose. It
absolutely.
brings value to readers who, if you target the right prospect with the right material, the right offer, what is going to help them, you've got a match made in heaven. And so what's junk mail to one person is gold for another. It's funny to talk about websites. 10 years ago, I had this website. It was one page. I call it the world's greatest coming soon page. It had a picture of 3 of my boys' feet all muddy, and it had a caption that said something like, the cobbler's kids have no shoes. They're busy making shoes, so they can't make their own shoes. And, I was trying to make the idea, I write website copy, but I don't have my own website. It doesn't fly so well today, and it's kind of cheesy, but the real story today is a little bit different. I believe you'd be a proponent of make a website, but how important really do you think a website is today, and why is that important?
A website is more important today than ever, simply because there's so much going on with social media, and a website tells your story more fully than you can get in social media. So if you are directing your potential clients back to a website, and a website talks to what their problem is immediately, then you're golden. You're going to have them on your website. They're going to learn more about you. They're going to learn who you are. They're going to learn how you operate, what you work with. And it gives them a good customer experience, where otherwise, if you're just saying, hey, read my Instagram post, and there's nowhere for them to go, That's all they're going to know about you, is that little microcosm of a moment that you're taking a picture of. But if you're sending your clients back to a well-designed, well-constructed website that speaks to their problem, man, you're golden.
Yeah, and I think it's Pat Flynn that says something like, if you build your whole business on social media, you're basically building a house on rented ground, because, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, they can change the rules anytime they want to. It's their platform.
Oh, absolutely.
But if it's a website, it's your platform. And I agree with that 100%. But social media still plays a role.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how do you make that marriage between your own website and social media? How does that flow for your clients typically?
They're actually two separate entities that work together. So you have your website that's all going to be about what your company is, how your company speaks to your client, what your company can do to solve that client's problem. It's going to, as well-known phrases, it's going to push their bruise. It's going to talk about what they need help with and how you can help them. Your social media is really the best way for you to get out your voice. It's the best way to engage and talk to people and talk to your potential clients and get your brand out there. It's immediate. It happens, instantaneously a lot of times, which is both good and bad. And then again, if you're directing them back to your website, then they've got a full picture of who you are as a company and who you are as a solopreneur for a lot of us.
Right. So it's almost like you could say social media is a way where you find your audience, and your website is where you keep them, because that's where you build the relationship with them and you grow with them. And I would add to that, not just a website, but a mailing list, because how do you communicate with your audience? If they just come to your website, you don't have any information about who's coming to your website, you don't have a relationship. You have somebody who's a visitor. Right. But if you want a relationship, you need to capture that information.
Oh, absolutely. And I take that even a step further, that social media can talk to them before they come to your website, and then you can actually nurture your clients and keep your clients on social media. So it can actually serve two purposes. The biggest thing with social media is, free is not always free. That yes, it's free to be on social media, but free is not free when you consider your time and you consider, that it could be your reputation, and you really got to watch what you're doing on social media.
Yes, absolutely. It is opportunity cost. And it's funny you say about your reputation, because, I'm an outspoken guy. I have very opinionated opinions on many things. They're not always politically popular or, popular with whatever way you go. And I struggle with that. It's like I am who I am, but at the same time, do I want who I am in a public face to be the person who hinders somebody from being helped by me because they have an opinion of me that's maybe negative because I don't agree with their opinion. And it's kind of a balance act you have to follow there. And I'm still finding that balancing act for myself. Sure. And I think that's important.
It's interesting. I just finished my new business crush is a man named Mark Schaefer, and have been reading a lot of his books and kind of binge reading his books. And I just read his Marketing Rebellion. He talks about that, how some of the bigger companies are taking a stand on a movement because a lot of the younger clients want that. They want to see what your business is doing for the world, for the culture, and sometimes it's dangerous for solopreneurs like us, like you said. If you're not agreeing with somebody else's policies, then they may hold that against you. So it's a really fine line sometimes, unless you're Nike.
Well, I'd say even Nike. It doesn't matter how big you are, because fortunes can change overnight, even in big business. And we've seen it before, I would say, in a number of businesses recently. But I don't go to the political side of the thing. This is a business show. Yeah. But it is something to consider. From social media, the aspect, who are you public facing? And for example, my Facebook profile, that's just family and friends. And then I get requests all the time, and I just simply I ignore or decline kindly. I say, thank you for the invite, but I keep this personal. But then other areas of social media, I'm open to the world. And so there is, like you said, there's a benefit because people see the real you, and there's a danger because people see the real you. What you have to do, I guess, is figure out who are you, be comfortable in your own skin, and make sure that who you're presenting is the best you that you can be, so that you can be the best help to the most people. I think that was maybe one way to present social media. But it's more than that, like you said, because I like what you said, it's kind of like a round trip. You have social media, you have your website, you have your email list, and you can build community sometimes easier on social media than you can
absolutely.
Other ways, because you have your audience in one place. And for example,
absolutely.
Facebook's groups is a good example of that. And they can communicate back and forth, and you don't necessarily have to be in the group every single minute of the day just to keep the conversations running. They're helping each other, and your fans can be your biggest proponents on those Facebook groups.
Absolutely. And engagement is instantaneous. You know immediately if somebody is listening or engaging, and you can engage right back. And it's a little harder on a website unless you have an active blog community, because really a blog is the only way to actually engage from a website perspective. And people are, if you're a big blogger and you've got millions of followers, and that's a good way to engage. But for most of us that don't have a million followers, social media is the best way to do it, and do it simply and easily and quickly.
That's right. And the funny thing is even a lot of the big bloggers these days have noticed that they may have comments on their blog, but they still get more engagement often by sharing the same blog post on Facebook or whatever, and people talk about it there. They're still using the blog, but that's their website, that's their SEO, that's their content, that's how they're helping their audience, but they're building further engagement on social media. So it really is a round trip. I like how you said that. I want to kind of bring it back to another topic here. You've had a lot of experience in business. So from the inside looking out, so to speak, what are some of the big marketing challenges that you find businesses, and I'd say business owners, especially like solopreneurs, small business owners, what do they struggle with today? What do you see as the big challenge for them?
Biggest challenge I see is just where do they start? Because there's so much out there, and there's so much that you can do. And again, I'll go back to what I said earlier, free is not free. Social media is so seductive because it's free and it's easy to do and you can jump right on it. But if you're doing it without a plan and you don't have a direction, the analogy of, you don't hop in the car and drive cross country without knowing where you're going and knowing how you're going to get there. So it's the same with marketing. I think we just think because there's so many avenues that we could market today that you forget you got to step back. Sometimes you have to take a couple of steps back to go 3 steps forward. And just plan where you're going to go. It doesn't take long. It doesn't have to be fancy. But if you're figuring out what you want to do, then that will help. And I see that more than anything as people say, I don't know where to start. The other place that I tell them to start is really hone in and define your target market, who you work with. I see this a lot of times in personal networking when I go to meetings and people talk about what their business is. They'll say, oh, I help everybody. And I just cringe because now I don't know who you help. Everybody? Not really. And so I think really honing in on who you serve and what you do and really digging deep and finding out what problems you solve for them. I'll use a realtor, for example, because we all know, 14 million realtors. A realtor doesn't find somebody a house. They find memories. They find good times with their family. They find places that they can relax and chill. They find a movie theater. There's a lot of things that they do besides just find a brick and mortar house with 4 walls. So really, that's what my challenge to business owners is, really dig deep and find out exactly what you do and how you help people.
Exactly. And in copywriting world, would call it get to the benefit, not the feature, the benefit. Yeah. And really beyond that, the deeper benefit. What does it really mean to them on an emotional level to buy that house or to buy whatever your offer is?
Right.
How is it really solving that problem? And not just the face of the problem, but what's the real emotional hot button that you're nailing when you present your offer? Are you offering confidence, for example? Maybe there's somebody who's new to business and say, I don't know what to do next. And I know I have a great product here, but I don't know how to hit my audience. And then Lori comes along and says, well, this is how I can help you. Mm-hmm. And they have confidence now, and not just confidence, but they get results. It's just why people hire a business coach or a marketer or something like that, so they can get results.
Oh yeah. I have a client she helps primarily women with shopping, and she helps them with image and the clothes that they wear. And she doesn't, I've gone shopping with her. She didn't buy me pants and a shirt. She bought me confidence. She bought me presentation. She bought me professionalism. She helped me upcharge and upscale my business. So she's helping me make more money. And there's just so many things that she did besides help me buy a shirt and a top. So it's really interesting, when you dig down and find really the benefit and push that bruise of what somebody's pain and problem is.
Right. And then you're bringing the healing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so we did promise in the intro that we would tell our listeners from you the absolute one thing every business owner must know. And I believe you kind of probably tapped on a little bit already,
Yeah.
but why don't you tell us what that is?
Yeah, we tapped on a little bit. It is identifying your target market. And there's so much talk today about, finding your avatar or your persona. And, and that's true to an extent, but sometimes you have more than one avatar or more than one persona. But you want to really just sit down and think about who I want to work with and how niched I can get. Because the money is in the niche. If you can really niche down and talk to a very specific group of people, it doesn't mean that you're not going to sell to everybody. It only means that you're going to market to a very specific group of people. And that, to me, is the secret of your marketing. If you can really hone in and niche down and identify who your persona or your avatar is and really identify what their problems are, and I love what you said, and then help heal them, then I will steal that. then I think you're going to go a long way with your marketing.
Yeah, and there's a reason they say the riches are in the niches. I hear it all the time. There's something else to that too, and that is, if you're talking to everybody, you're really not talking to anybody specifically. And when you're building a relationship with somebody, you don't talk over their head as you're talking to the world. You're talking to that one person. And so your marketing, your relationship building, your emails you send out, whatever it is that you're building your business with, there may be multiple avatars, and so you may have to pick one for that email. But you need to make sure that you're talking personally, one-on-one. You're sitting across the table from your best friend, your Aunt Sue, whoever it is, and you're helping them with what that problem is, that bruise, bringing the healing. What you got to do, though, is you have to bring it down to, why am I helping this person? And if I'm trying to help everybody at the same time, I'm helping no one at all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you're out, marketing your business and talking to people, if you don't know specifically who you're talking about, you've lost me. Because, the world is so big. When you tell me I help everybody, I don't know who to bring to you. I don't know who to find. And but if you can tell me I'm specifically looking for this person, then I could, mentally search through my Rolodex and go, oh, yeah, let me introduce you. And it makes my job so much easier.
Absolutely. And you don't have to be, all things, all people. And by the way, competitors aren't always competitors. Sometimes they can be friends that they handle the customers that aren't a good fit for your business. And that's why we do referrals a lot of times, because I say, I don't want to deal with that person because that's not really a good fit for me. And that's so true in the world of solopreneurship. When you're running a business, you have limited resources. Now, you could build a team, and they don't have to be employees. They can be team that are outside of you. But at the same time, helping the people you help best is going to be best for you and your client, or your customer. So that's what I always recommend. Thank you for sharing that, because I agree. Now, I'm gonna kind of bring that a little bit deeper, though, because you said, the key is they must know their target market. So how would you recommend they go about finding who is their target market? That's really the key question, isn't it? Is, yes, I know I need to have somebody, but how do I determine who that person is?
I start with who I like to work with. I look at my current client base and say, these are the people I really, because to me, if I can't have fun while I'm working and be in business doesn't have to be all like straight-laced and pound the table and, because I think I love what I do and it's fun what I do. And I want people who are excited about it as well. So I tell people, really sit down and look at who you enjoy working with. Who are people that you just connect with, and start there. Because then you can narrow it down and say, okay, now let me look at my client. I'm getting, my current client base. I'm getting most of my business from this group. There's probably a skill set that I have that works with them. And then if you don't have clients, if you still don't have, if you're so new that you're starting out, then I'd look at who I want to work with. I'd look down and say, you know what? I am a personal trainer, and this is what I feel like my skills are. So this is the person I'm going to work with. I'm looking at someone that's maybe, a young mother with 2 kids that doesn't have time to exercise because she's working a job and she's coming home and, trying to take care of the house and the kids. So that's going to be my niche. That's who I'm with, because that's who I enjoy working with, because I can relate to that. That's me, or somebody older, whatever, but just that's where I would start.
That's great. And I would say the same thing, because I started my business as a copywriter. That's where I became a freelancer out of the IT world. And at first it was like, I don't know who I really want to write for the most, so I would write for anybody that gave me a paycheck. It didn't matter.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I had to decide, where am I going to focus my efforts? And eventually it came down to, for me, it became natural health, and eventually expanded to include the niche of emergency preparedness and survival, because that was a passion of mine that I had an interest in. And so I felt I could help people reach other customers who were like me. So it made sense. And so I enjoyed writing the material that was targeting readers who would be like me. So that made sense at that point. But you do have to figure out who is the person you can best help. And again, that might be the person you most like to work with, like Lori said. How do you like to work with Steve Combs? Maybe you don't like working with Steve Combs. Maybe you would much rather work with Lori. Call Lori. Whatever it is. And boy, one thing that irks me is there's this scarcity mindset. It's like I can't ever give a good word to anybody because there's only limited business go around. By the way,
oh no!
When they say a rising tide raises all ships or something like that,
Yeah.
I believe that. The more you help each other is the more everyone benefits. That's just the way it works. And that's why I bring everyone who I think can help this audience on my show, because I want them to get the benefit of their experience and knowledge.
Oh, sure. And I don't think there is such a thing as a competitor. Even the company that I used to work for, I've referred business to them, even though I got laid off in 2013, because they have a very different skill set than what I bring to the table. I remember years ago, I was selling jewelry, and I had just started selling it. And I knew somebody else who sold jewelry, and I called her and I said, I'd like to find out more about what you do, what your products are, because I sell a very limited amount. And she scratched her head and said, why? I'm like, well, because, and then I had an instance where one of my jewelry clients needed clip earrings. She didn't have pierced earrings in this day and age. I knew this woman sold clip earrings, but I had no idea what she did because she wouldn't meet with me. And I just scratched my head over that. I love meeting other entrepreneurs in this space because you learn from them, and there's a synergy that is just fun. I'll go back to my word fun,
I agree that, I'm going to go off on a tangent here for a minute. So excuse the audience, but I've been to those networking meetings, like the local networking meetings, and they'll let you have like one person of any kind of business in the entire networking meeting. And I'm going to tell you, I think they're doing themselves a disservice, because if you only have one person of a niche that you can allow somebody to be possibly referred to, you may not be referring somebody to the best possible fit for them. And so for that reason, I don't even join those groups. I just don't think it's a good fit for anybody to narrow your focus so much that you can have only exactly one company that's ever a good fit for anybody in any given area of business. And so that's my little rant today.
Hey, I'll take your rant a step further, because what bothers me about most of them is you can't be a member of other networking meetings.
Oh,
really?
boy.
How would you network? You're only going to network in that. So that's my soapbox.
I haven't even heard that. A networking non-compete. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, it's a networking non-compete. We have a couple of those here in Atlanta. It's like, really?
Yeah, that's a non-starter here, boy. I'll tell you. Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, Lori, I've loved this conversation. I do have one more last question for you that I like to ask my guests this, because it kind of puts you on the spot a little bit, but it also helps you think, and maybe it'll be helpful to you to think about, or maybe you've already thought about this, but what's next for you in your business? Like, what are you doing right now? Or if I were your coach, let's say, what should you be doing right now to take your business to the next level? What's going on with you?
Well, it's interesting because, number one, starting my online marketing program will be taking it to the next level. But also for a long time, because I was a solopreneur, I kept thinking, well, people are hiring me. I can't bring anybody else in to help me because they're hiring me. And when I made that paradigm shift from it's only me to, wait a minute, I don't do this, my company does this, then that immediately helped me open up to grow, because it opened up avenues for me and forced me in a direction to do that I probably should have done a couple of years ago when I was working, 24/7, trying to get all this stuff done. And so just that simple shift alone really is going to help me grow over the next year or 2 years, bringing people on to help me and say, it's my company that they're working with, and I'm going to creative direct it, but I may not be hands-on for every single piece of it. That's exciting.
So you're growing your company, which is great. I'm curious, are you going to do it as like a W-2 employee style? Are you going to hire them as like freelance contractors, 1099 style, or how do you envision that? 1099
freelancers for right now. It could be a different answer if we have a conversation next year.
Right.
But right now, because I need so many various and different people, my company is still not at a point where I can bring on 3 or 4 different full-time people. So, I've got a great network of people I can call on that are freelancers that, quite honestly, they don't want to be employees either. Once you've been a freelancer, it's hard to go back to to being an employee.
Yeah.
I am totally unemployable now.
Yes, me too. I can't even fathom the idea, honestly, of sitting in a cubicle again. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I'll be eating pork and beans all day first. It's not going to happen.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, totally.
But I like what you said there, though, about building a team, and I want to just point this out to the solopreneurs listening to this. Yes, you're a solopreneur today. That does not mean you're alone in the world. And whether it's networking with other people, other businesses, other business owners, other ways of reaching clients and audience, or perhaps, maybe you're bringing on new people in your team, and it could be a W-2 employee, it could be a 1099. It's not a failure because you're doing something different. It's what is right for you at this stage of your business. And, I personally bring on any employees whatsoever. However, that might change down the road. Like Lori said, next year we may have a conversation. It might be totally different. Could be the same for me. It might be totally different next year. But right now, I'm loving the freedom and flexibility that a business of one offers, and allows me to travel with my family and to, if I want to take a day off, I'm taking a day off. Obviously, I got to make sure my clients' projects are taken care of. But my deliverables are, I have a responsibility to meet those. But I have the flexibility to work around that. And that's the real benefit of being a solopreneur to me, and I'm sure to most solopreneurs.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you're doing a lot of traveling with your family and all their activities too. So
we do.
Yeah, that absolutely. And I will also add this to it. When you get to that point that you think you need somebody, it's probably too late. Hire somebody or bring somebody on to help you before you actually think you need them, because we all tend to think, I can, it's going to take me longer for somebody else to do this than it will be for me to teach them. But it's the old saying, once you teach, you don't hand them the fish, you teach them to fish.
Right.
And that's the one thing that I wish that I had done differently, is start doing this earlier. I would have gotten a lot more sleep 6 months ago, but the biggest advice I can say is do it before you feel like you need it.
Right. And you can start small. You don't have to hire a full-time person. You can start it project by project, or, hey, let's try working 2 or 5 hours a week. Maybe it's a virtual assistant or whoever you're offloading work to. Get some of that busy work that is not part of your core competency off of your plate, so you can focus on helping your clients better and get that other junk off to people who that's their superpower. Absolutely.
And there's people out there who will do anything if you just have to look for them. The VA world is so full of talented people that are very niched, because the riches are in the niches. There are so many people that are so niche that you can find whatever you need to help you, and very reasonably usually.
That's right. And it's also true, the saying that, what I love, you may hate, and what you love, I may hate. And so we work together and we both do what we love. And so that's great. Well, thank you, Lori. This has been a wonderful conversation today.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's been helpful for our listeners, but I want to make sure they have a way to reach out to you and to connect with you. What's the best place for them to find you at?
Actually, they can contact me off my website, ignitingyourbusiness.com, or makeyourmarketingsimple.com, and they will link back to each other, so you only have to remember one. I'm also on Instagram at Lori A. Lyons _ or Ignite_marketing. They can reach me either one. I'm on LinkedIn at LA Lyons. So a couple of different places on social media they can reach me.
Yeah, a whole list. They're probably sitting there furiously writing down, but don't worry about it. I'll put it in the show notes. You can go to the website, check it out in the show notes. You'll find it all there. And by the way, I just want to point out, Lori also provided very generously a free report for those who are trying to get their business off the ground, and you want to make sure that your business is going the right direction, or perhaps you're hit a plateau and you need to kind of move your marketing mindset a little bit further along. And she's got this great report. It's called 3 Simple Marketing Shifts to Create Clarity and Momentum for Your Business. And she had mentioned that website earlier, makeyourmarketingsimple.com. I'm going to give you the direct page that she told me earlier. You can find this report at makeyourmarketingsimple.com/success, SUCCESS. So make sure you go out there, grab a copy of that free report. And Lori, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Oh, thank you, Steve. It's been fun.
Thank you for listening to the Solopreneur Success Podcast. We hope you discovered valuable advice on how to start and grow your own successful solopreneur business. Come soar with us by joining our community at startgrowsoar.com. Again, that's startgrowsoar.com. We look forward to seeing you there.
Hey, it's Steve Combs. Just wanted to thank you for listening today. You can find all the links and show notes from this episode at startgrowsoar.com/003. And if you found value in today's episode, Be sure to click the subscribe button so you won't miss a single episode that can help you start and grow your own successful solopreneur business and design the life that you truly deserve. And again, thank you for listening.